Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuoki Kyoto Wins. We're along Susumu Yamazaki's route, and I believe we're going to have our continuation ending in this. We're at the Fushimi Magistrate's office now, and you know what that means, since Kondo and Okita are gone. So brace yourselves. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. We welcomed the new year without the presence of Kondo and Okita by our side. An eerie blood-red sun set over the Kyoto horizon. It was dusk on January 3rd, 1868. The only thing strong enough to cut through the icy chill of winter was the distant pang of gunfire in the direction of Toba. I wasn't sure if it was the shogunate army or the Satsuma Choshu that had shot first. But the first gunshot was the final straw. Before we'd known it, the shogunate army and the Satsuma Choshu were at war. At long last, Kyoto had become a battlefield, just as Yamazaki had predicted. Of course, the Fushimi Magistrate, base of the Shinsengumi, was not safe from the threat of battle. Around 800 riflemen had gathered from the Satsuma Choshu camps to surround the magistrate. They were armed with advanced weaponry, which made the task all the more difficult for the Shinsengumi to deal with. Not to mention those cannons.
Chizuru, sorry, we got another wounded over here.
Lay him down along the wall, wrap where he's bleeding, and apply pressure. Are you alright, Harada? Your arm is bleeding.
I'll spit on it, good as new.
Yeah, that sounds like something a guy would say. Rub some dirt on it, right?
I'm gonna head back out. Watch that one.
Okay, be safe. The fiery roar of the cannonballs made me shake as I cowered on the floor, listening above. Only a day had passed since the fighting started. I barely had any time to prepare, and I was tending to the injured in the triage we'd set up in the magistrate's common room. Your bleeding will stop soon. In the meantime, please get some rest.
No, I must return back to the front line immediately.
You can't. You need to rest until these wounds heal.
But the other men are waiting for me. Please, just let me go.
Even though I'd performed the bare minimum on them, then returned to the battlefield. They should be in bed, recovering. But they found the resolve to drag their bruised, ragged bodies back to the battlefield out of dedication to their comrades. It's kind of nice to hear them actually talking about the other Shinsengumi that aren't named characters in here, being as resolute as the named ones. However, it seemed as though I rushed them through their treatment. They would quickly go into the battlefield, then back into our triage. It was becoming a dangerous cycle. I don't want any more people to get hurt. The conflict was building more and more in my heart, but I couldn't stop treating them. How was everyone doing? Hijikata, Saito, Nagakura, Harada, and Noe and Shimada. And Yamazaki. Everyone, please be safe. Almost like an answer from the divine. The minute I'd seen Yamazaki walk in, I shouted, "Yamazaki, you're safe!"
Oh, it's you, Yukimura. I'm glad to see you're safe as well. Have you just been here tending all of these injured men during this time?
Yes, the wounded have been carried in here almost non-stop since this morning. How is it out there? Is everyone safe?
It's been a little rough. Nagakura and Shimada formed a little last-ditch effort to charge at the enemy, but the opposition all fired at once, and then they retreated. Saito and Harada, the same thing.
No, even the captains were... A thick silence slunk between us, and behind us was the repeating boom of cannon fire. In this moment, there were so many of our men who were suffering the constant fear of danger. Warriors who'd spent their time and dedication with us are in pain. I could be speaking with someone in one moment, and in the next they would be mortally injured. Thinking that, I felt greatly compelled to grab Yamazaki tightly by the hand and stop him from leaving.
Yukimura.
Don't go. I'm a little scared. When the thought of you being the next person to become hurt comes to mind.
Don't worry. My job is to watch from the back and check from the distance the status of each location, then report it to the commander quickly. So there's no way I can get hurt. I couldn't, even if I wanted to.
Yamazaki? I could hear a hint of self-deprecation in his words, and I furrowed my brow as I looked at him. Yamazaki then snapped to look in the distance as the thunderous cannons rang above us.
I feel bad that you're worried about me, but there are times when I'm envious of the men fighting on the battlefield.
And why is that?
Because I'm forbidden to fight.
Yamazaki gripped his knuckles as if he were about to break them. He bit the corner of his lips before breaking into a pained confession.
As you know, I am on the watch of the Shinsengumi. I act as their secret intelligence. So even in a war like this, my commands are to gather information and communicate it to the commander as soon as possible. So yes, even if my closest teammates were on the cusp of death, my priorities are to deliver key messages above anything.
I could understand what he meant. During times of war, information was crucial. His job is really super important. As in gathering resources to strategize well. Knowing where reinforcements were needed. A late report could be the difference between victory and defeat almost every time. But feeling helpless as his comrades potentially lost their lives must have weighed so heavily on him.
Throughout the war, I'd watched many of my fellow warriors on the battlefield. Yet, I cannot join them, no matter how difficult the fight may get. I'm the only one that can't fight. I'm the one holding back.
What about Shimada? Isn't he as well? Yamazaki, who normally remained composed, struggled to keep his hands steady from anger. I couldn't watch him this way. I know what you mean, but mostly because I actually literally can't fight, not that I'm forbidden to fight. I know what you mean.
You do?
Yes, I feel the same way. I also have no way of fighting even if I wanted to. Yamazaki turned his head dubiously and smiled. I placed my hand over where my heart was. At the Ikeda, Hamaguri, and Aburano Koji, during all these important battles, I always had someone else protecting me. Even now, I'm no good at fighting, so I'm stuck here. Even so, I wanted to do my part for the Shinsengumi in any way that I could. That's why I've been training the wounded. I may not be any good at swinging a sword, but I'm fighting this war in my own way. For a second, Yamazaki gazed at me with tender eyes. Those eyes do not look tender. Sorry. Eventually, he curled his lips, and he smiled brightly.
Sorry, Yukimura. Saying that you weren't fighting because you can't swing a sword is an insult to you.
That's right. My job is important too. No, not at all. I didn't mean to say something out of line. Besides, that's nothing to apologize for.
No, please allow me to apologize. Fighting in your own way, huh? Thank you, Yukimura. I'm going to return to the battlefield proudly, so that I may fulfill my duties.
All right, good luck. Off, young man, now that I've set you straight. I saw Yamazaki off, giving him a slow, long sigh after watching him leave. It really was a rare sight to see Yamazaki express his feelings like that. Yamazaki had always been so level-headed. I hadn't known there was that side of him. He was becoming more familiar to me, and with that, I returned to tending the wounded. January 5th, 1867. Ugh!
Damn it! Hey, you alright, Chizuru?
Yeah, somehow, just a little shaken. As the days progressed, the hellish cannon fire was becoming closer and closer to us. By this morning, their cannons had finally started hitting the magistrate directly. 2 whole days had passed since the war started, and that seemed to be enough to determine the final outcome.
The situation is becoming quite dire. Is there anything we could do, Sanin? If it has reached this point, the Fury Corps is at its limit. Of course, we could attempt to bring our own artillery into it, but it would be pointless.
And, as if fate sought to vindicate Sanin, the cannon fire became more bombastic in the background. Eventually, the flames began to engulf the magistrate. I watched as the smoke and fire tore the roof down from sections of the building. In the corner of my eye, I saw Hijikata wincing to himself and trying to contain his anger.
Goddamn these Satsuma Choshu bastards!
Hijikata? Where are you going?
Seriously? I'm going to push those Satsuma Choshu bastards back.
It's too dangerous!
Look, I can see that. All our men are being overwhelmed by all this crap right now. If I want the men to keep their morale up, it's up to me to lead the charge.
Hijikata irately clanged his sword against the charred ground, and he stepped into the bleakness. However, blocking him from moving forward was Yamazaki.
Please, Commander, wait. I cannot afford to let you go. What's this about, Yamazaki? You, of all people, should know. We're being completely overpowered by enemy forces. Even more reason for me to get out there. If their commander's leading from the front, then I'm sure the others will. Your presence will only temporarily help them. How dare you talk this way to me, Yamazaki? Are you really telling me that leading my men won't help them? If I wasn't afraid of you misinterpreting the meaning of what I'm telling you, then yes.
I could feel my cheeks vibrate from the grumble of the floor below before bullets began raining down near where we'd stood. However, Yamazaki and Hijikata were still glaring at one another, neither one willing to budge. Yamazaki, Hijikata, it's dangerous here. We have to get away.
Don't be stupid. Kondo trusted me to lead these men. How could you think I wouldn't fight for them? I can't stand cowardice. If this is the case, then we might as well. Well, what? What do you plan on doing?
Yamazaki's retort made Hijikata gasp. Oh? What Yamazaki did next shocked me. He grabbed Hijikata by the collar. Yeah, it's something I would not expect.
Screw all that. You have no idea what your life is worth to all of us.
I don't think I could ever imagine Yamazaki crossing Hijikata in the way I was witnessing. However, Hijikata didn't seem angry from this display, and instead he just stared back.
Yamazaki, we're already missing Chief Kondo. What makes you, the only thing keeping the Shinsengumi together now? What are you trying to prove, standing on the front lines of a losing side? You alone have the power to use your men to keep yourself alive, so that you can survive to lead them another day. That is what it means to be a leader. Am I wrong, Commander? Please, Commander, order the retreat.
Stop delaying! For a second, it seemed time stood still, and the cannon fire felt a million miles away. At the moment, all the commotion from the violence and the flames didn't seem to matter.
Who would have guessed you'd ever be the one lecturing me?
Hijikata murmured to himself, and he shook his head as if clearing his mind. Then his expression became a bright one.
Sorry, Yamazaki. Yeah, you're right. This isn't the time or place for me to risk my life right now. There'll be other chances to skin those bastards out there.
Then...
Yeah, listen up, guys. We're getting out of here.
Even though he declared an order of retreat, puffing his chest up confidently as he spoke, the clarity of Hijikata's commands cut through the sounds of cannon fire around us. The winter sky was turning gray from the seemingly endless smoke plumes scattered around us. Covering our bodies was the bitter taste of soot, and defeat was starting to sink in. Our bodies were heavy with fatigue, dragging us and our hearts into an unshakable darkness. Along with Yamazaki, Shimada, Inoue, and a few other warriors, I was able to escape the magistrate, if only barely.
Are you all right, Yukimura? You must be tired. You've been working non-stop since the start of the war.
Well, that goes for you too, Yamazaki, as well as the rest of the men. I'm not in any position to complain about what's going on.
I see. Regardless, Yodo Castle is only just up this way.
Oh no, we're heading to Yodo.
The leader of the Yodo domain is one of the Shogunate Council of Elders, so I'm certain that they'll welcome us as allies of the Shogunate.
Okay then, let's get there as soon as possible. I nodded to Shimada, and we'd taken a gander at our surroundings. Every single warrior around us was covered in either blood or soot, and their heads hung low. I couldn't blame them, though. The Shinsengumi had been slowly gaining renown and prestige from their last few battles, so because this was their first real loss, it hit hard. What would become of the Shinsengumi in the future? I found myself muttering those words to myself as I'd scanned the devastation around me. It had been 4 years since I'd arrived in Kyoto. I was detained by the Shinsengumi, living with warriors throughout this whole time. Maybe I took my situation for granted, and I figured the Shinsengumi would be around forever. What if they were to... I was suddenly brought back to reality as Yamazaki brushed my hand lightly with his sleeves. Then I found myself reflexively grabbing onto his sleeves out of desperation. Yamazaki's eyes slightly grew wide in surprise.
Everything will be okay, Yukimura. The Shinsengumi will be fine. This isn't the end.
Yamazaki moved a little awkwardly, trying to find my trembling hands so that he could hold them.
It'll be all right. Even if we lose this war, our setbacks will be temporary, and we won't give up. I vow to protect you, here and in the future.
Okay. Yamazaki's kind words set my heart at ease. I gripped his hand tightly, as if clinging to it for warmth. Just then...
Oh, what are you smiling at, Shimada?
I noticed Shimada was smiling, watching our interaction.
Are we in the way here?
What?
Wait a minute. What do you mean by that, Shimada?
Oh, nothing at all. Just watching you, Yamazaki. It feels like you've grown up so much.
Huh? Grown up? Me?
Yes, you. I mean, I've been with you for a few years now, Yamazaki, so I'm sure of it. At least, the old Yamazaki would never have suggested retreat, even if it meant disobeying the commander's orders.
Now that you mention it, you have a point.
Shimada smiled warmly, looking at me for a second before turning to face Yamazaki again. Suddenly, though, his expression became serious.
Yamazaki would never think twice about giving his own life for the sake of his mission. I think it is one of his strengths, but at the same time it is his weakness.
Shimada?
That is why I begin to think Yamazaki very much needs someone that will support him and stay by his side.
Uh-huh.
Shimada, does that mean...
Just as Yamazaki was about to respond. No! How dare you interrupt our moment?
Where are those gunshots coming from?
From over there.
Oh no. As I recalled, Inoue was in the front of the troop. I could almost feel the blood leaving my body. My stomach dropped from the thought of it, almost as if to confirm my worst fears. Inoue appeared, blood gushing from his abdomen, and he was wheezing with strained breaths. Inoue, are you okay?
What just happened? That gunshot came from...
Everyone, run! Kyoto Castle has betrayed the Shogun.
What? How? How did the Yodo domain join the Satsuma Chochu too?
Yes, beyond this point, the Satsuma warriors are waiting. Hurry, go.
Damn it. Everyone scatter. Don't let the enemy see you.
I'll take Inoue. Yamazaki, protect Yukimura.
Okay, we have no choice but to retreat for Osaka Castle. Meet back there. Don't die on me, Shimada.
Yes, please, stay safe. We scurried down an animal trail on the side of the path, and Yamazaki and I ran through an unpaved road. Don't tell me we're going to run into Kazuma. He's the #1 cause of people becoming Furies. We quickly brushed aside scattered branches and ignored the various cuts we'd received from them.
They went that way. Don't let them get away. There should be more. Find them.
That gunshot just now.
Don't look back. Just focus on getting away.
I thought that getting to Yodo Castle meant we were safe, that we'd be able to see Hijikata and the other men and regroup to fight again. However, all I could feel now was despair. Only the warmth from Yamazaki's hand could give me comfort as I forced myself to run, even as I felt my legs want to collapse from tiredness.
There they are.
As soon as we got into a more exposed area, 2 soldiers armed with rifles found us. Guns were far more savage than a sword, requiring only the pull of a trigger to take someone's life. As their guns were pointed toward us, I thought about how delicately our lives held in the balance. I don't know what came first. The sound of the gunshots firing, or the feeling of being pushed out of the way. Oh. No. Yamazaki? Yamazaki threw his kunai with all of his might, and it landed right in the hearts of the Satsuma men. Good shots. But I didn't care about that at all. Yamazaki, are you okay? Why did you... I lifted Yamazaki's body to see a pool of blood beginning to form around his thighs. With tears in my eyes, I put pressure on his wound, then he looked at me crying. I didn't care one bit about my safety. All that mattered to me was that he was hurt. Why? Why would you try and protect me? You should know, Yamazaki, if my organs are safe, then my injuries will heal. If you had just left me be, you wouldn't have been hurt.
You're right. Thinking back on it now, I guess it didn't really make sense to do so. And if I hadn't been hit just now, then we could be running off together instead of this.
But then... Yamazaki softly patted my head, gazing into my puffy eyes, and he smiled brightly.
Forgive me, Yukimura. What you said was true, but I suppose it was just instinct to move and protect you. Even if it wasn't fatal, would it have been okay for me to just watch you get hurt instead? Should I just use you as a shield then? To hell with that.
I felt a sickening mixture of gratitude and guilt. And more than either of those, I felt a sense of warmth well inside of me. I'm so sorry for doing this to you. Thank you so much. My words landed somewhat on both ends of the spectrum, and Yamazaki gave a troubled laugh.
No, don't apologize. This wound is of my own doing. And yet, now that we're here, fighting will be difficult. How can we make our escape? Huh, how unsightly.
Yep, it's just as I thought, isn't it?
In your condition, you're no longer fit to protect her. I guess I just thought too highly of you. You're not good enough to serve as our guard dog. Huh.
Kazuma! Potentially the worst person we could encounter. I immediately reached for my kodachi on my hip. Yamazaki too went to reach for his sword in support of me. Then he stood and glared at Kazuma.
That's right. You are affiliated with the Satsuma, are you not? It's been a while since we met last, but now you're stooping so low as to pick on fleeing soldiers, eh?
Kazuma mercilessly aimed for the spot where Yamazaki had been shot, kicking him repeatedly. Get away from Yamazaki! Yamazaki swung with slow, pained slashes, but Kazuma exerted no effort to dodge them.
It seems like I need to punish you too. But for now, why don't you sit still?
He swiped at my leg, and I fell to the ground as the wind was knocked out of me. I was gasping for air, struggling to catch my breath as Kazuma glared menacingly above me. Then Kazuma grabbed Yamazaki and grinned. He sunk his finger into Yamazaki's bullet wound and began to twist it in the bloody flesh.
What did you call me again? Say it.
Gah!
It doesn't seem like you have much to say when the cat's got your tongue, do you?
Stop it! Stop it! I could hear Yamazaki's flesh tearing, and his screams of agony were unbearable. Just then...
Chikage Kazuma! The esteemed commander of losers has arrived.
Following a deafening clash of swords, I could hear a familiar voice from nowhere. Hijikata!
Yamazaki, Yukimura, you two all right?
Yes, I'm fine, but Yamazaki's...
You picked the wrong warrior to mess with.
Hijikata's veins practically popped out of his arm from how tightly he gripped his katana, and he swung once more.
You call that a swing? Or are we dancing?
Kazuma parried with ease, avoiding Hijikata's strikes as he smirked tauntingly.
Seems like you're a little worn out, which is funny considering you spent most of your time running away like a scared little girl. Little cuts and bruises here and there, and your arms are shot from all the useless swinging you do. Is that a cracked rib I see too? Wow, so brave of you to keep fighting through the pain.
He was right. Hijikata had been tirelessly fighting enemy soldiers, storming the Fushimi magistrate. And knowing him, he was doing all he could during the retreat to ensure his men's safety. I don't know how he could have any strength left to walk, let alone fight someone like Kazuma. Hijikata, please, fall back! There's nothing you can do right now. We have to find a way out of here. Yeah, like Kazuma's just gonna let us go?
So she says. Looks like even she can tell that the dog has been backed into a corner. Nothing we can do right now. I don't see it that way.
Then Hijikata reached into his pocket, and my heart dropped as he pulled out a vial. "It's not your time, Hijikata!" "No!" The minute I saw it, I panicked. I watched the red liquid slosh back and forth. It was...
Water of life, huh? Just how stupid are you? You think I'm stupid, huh? Turns out I don't give a crap what you think. Sadly for you, there's nothing more stupid to me than being too weak to help out my men when they're in need.
Hijikata curled his lips as he smirked, opening the bottle with one hand. Just then... Yamazaki! I thought he would be too weak to move. Through the darkness, I saw a hand sharply chop into Hijikata's neck from behind. I don't think this is smart, Yamazaki.
Yamazaki? What the...
Yamazaki, why did you do that? Yamazaki appeared, looking over Hijikata, who'd fallen to the floor. Then he picked up the bottle. His eyes were silent, filled with resolve.
What's the meaning of this, kid?
The Shinsengumi needs its commander. It needs Hijikata. There's no way I'm letting him sacrifice himself to become a creature of the night at the behest of your cruel taunts. In his stead, there are plenty of other warriors who could invite the darkness unto themselves.
No!
I see. So you're going to drink it instead of that wretched substance. You're aware of what that means, don't you? What you give up when you drink the water of life. The minute you take it down, you'll transform into a bloodthirsty creature who shuns the sun. Your life as a human will be no more. You'll be good as dead. Whatever you used to be will vanish into the cold, shadowy mist. The only thing you'll have to look forward to is the moonlit solitude with that cursed body of yours.
And so what?
Yamazaki removed the cloth covering his mouth. Hidden under his cloth was a grin. The black cloth fluttered into the wind as he put the vial to his lips and swallowed down the water of life in one gulp.
To end my life and enter a lonesome darkness? None of that matters. I prepared myself for such a sacrifice a long time ago when I took it upon myself to join the Watch. Even if my body succumbs to the darkness, there are those who require my protection. This is my mission.
His hair turned white as the winter snow, and his eyes morphed into a blood-red shade. As he transformed into something that was no longer human, Yamazaki screamed out.
If it means I'll be strong enough to protect those I care about, I will give my body up to the darkness. Don't underestimate me, Chikage Kazuma.
Huh, you're just a yapping insect. Fine, go ahead and die on that cross. I'm going to crush you myself anyway.
Yeah!
Yamazaki screamed as he charged for Kazuma, and the ground he'd leapt from shattered into a cracked circle, and he vanished from my sight. My eyes couldn't keep up with him. His powers were clearly beyond his human selves.
I allowed you to touch me.
Not done yet. Faster! Faster!
Don't get cocky.
Kazuma kicked the floor out of rage. Then he bounced off a tree trunk to leap into the air like a raging storm brewing above. They exchanged blows, their blades bellowing like thunder over a matter of seconds. Holy crap. I felt like I was watching a dance of lightning as their swords collided, and it took my breath away. Amazing.
Never thought you'd make it this long. I've cut down fake after fake in the past with ease, but...
But they weren't protecting me.
You're one of the faster insects I've had to squash.
Just as Kazuma had said, Yamazaki fought with a speed and technique unlike any fury I'd ever seen. With every strike, he was pushing his muscles to the point his veins would pop from his flesh and even burst into blood splatter, but he continued. Holy crap. He relied on his healing powers as a fury, guiding him to fight with more and more vigor. Yamazaki fought like this could be his last. The mood of the battle intensified greatly. I wanted him to stop, but I knew he couldn't. I was aware of the determination that brought him to drink the water of life in the first place.
So, you're a little tougher to squash than I thought. But you can't keep this up forever. It'll give. Maybe a few minutes, maybe a few seconds, or maybe a few breaths. Looks like the only chance you stand against me is when you squeeze every bit of power you've got left in that pathetic body of yours. A few breaths will be more than enough. That's all I need to take you down, and I'll protect Yukimura and the commander. Fat chance. No matter how quickly you buzz around, you're still just a bug. Now, I'm gonna rip those wings off, slowly and painfully, and make you crawl to me.
Kazuma's hair suddenly lost all color, and horns began to shoot up from his forehead. In the moment that his appearance changed, the air became still, and the temperature dropped. Perhaps it was my own demon blood reacting to the change, but I could sense his aura in my chest. My hair stood. This was bad news. A chill slunk down my spine, and I screamed out as loudly as I could at Yamazaki. "Yamazaki, get away! Kazuma is—"
Too late.
As Yamazaki tried to jump away, Kazuma seemed to have forecasted his movements, swinging his sword in the direction in which Yamazaki was going. However, the eerie sound of flesh being sliced open never came as I'd expected it to. What came into sight was the outline of a burly man in front of me. Amagiri? What are you doing here?
Amagiri, what is the meaning of this?
Huh? What do you mean?
I'm asking you why you're getting in the way. If you don't want to die, get the hell out of my way right now.
Stop your barking. Go ahead and stab me if you want. The fact that you're showing a mere human your demon form will come back to haunt the Kazama clan.
What did you just say to me?
Or does the figurehead of all demons of the West really need to use his true form to kill a human?
An obvious provocation. Very well, Amagiri. I'll let you save face, this time.
I'd appreciate that. The Shinsengumi men are approaching. Killing them's no problem, but it has to be the other humans killing the humans this time.
Kazuma clicked his tongue, sighing, and slowly he directed his glare at us.
I'll let you go this time. You're wasting our time siding with the Shogun anyway. They're dirt.
That's not true. The Shogunate is just...
You think I'm lying? See for yourself at Osaka Castle. It's a laugh.
After his little jeer, Kazuma left with Amagiri, vanishing into the wintry darkness. I'd waited for a second to make sure they were actually gone, and I crumbled to the floor. We're safe now?
I think the more accurate way of looking at it is that we've been spared.
Hijikata, you're awake. Is he going to be pissed?
Yeah. Spare me.
Hijikata's brows furrowed, and he looked toward Yamazaki. After a moment, Yamazaki began to fall as he'd exerted all of his energy in the fight. Well, maybe that's lucky for him, actually. I ran to catch his body. Yamazaki, are you okay?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry.
Well, you would have died without it.
You moron! Why the hell did you drink the water of life? I already told you. The Shinsengumi can't afford to lose you. Commander, we need you, night and day, to lead and guide us in the light.
But that gives you no right to...
Hijikata, please understand where Yamazaki's coming from. I hugged Yamazaki's body tightly. I used my arms to gauge if there was still warmth in his body, even after becoming a fury. Yamazaki told us. He told us he wanted the power to resist fate. Even if he had to succumb to the darkness, he wished to protect the Shinsengumi. After hearing how important it was to him, I couldn't stop him from drinking the water of life. Yamazaki chose this. He chose the path that he's now going on.
You idiot.
Hijikata began to choke up. He looked like he wanted to speak, but he didn't.
Hey, look over there. That's...
Alright, and we're going to stop there because I've gone on way too long and I wanted to finish the scene, but see, I think the scene's enough finished. Yeah, so next episode will definitely be the end of his route. There probably won't be much left in his continuation ending, and then we'll do his tragic love and bad endings. So hope to see you there or in some of my other videos, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.